Chato, your brain is not designed for modern life, and that's why you feel lost. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not weak. You are not lazy. You are not broken. The problem is simpler and more uncomfortable. Your brain was designed for a world that no longer exists, and every day you wake up inside an environment it does not understand. Here's what most people miss. Your biological machinery evolved to solve very specific problems: find food, avoid predators, maintain social bonds in groups of about 150 people. That's it. For most of human history, those were the survival parameters. Your reward prediction system, the dopamine circuits that drive motivation and learning, was shaped by environments where effort led to predictable outcomes. You climb a tree, you get fruit, you hunt successfully, you eat. The feedback loop was direct, tangible, immediate. Now think about what your brain faces today. Infinite digital stimulation, endless social comparison, notifications engineered to hijack attention, 20 streaming platforms offering unlimited entertainment, 100 career paths with no clear map. The CEO of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, is trying to make decisions in an environment where every choice branches into 1,000 more choices, none of which your ancestors ever had to consider. The mismatch is not subtle, it's catastrophic. This is where people usually get it wrong. They assume the solution is willpower. Just try harder. Just be more disciplined. Just fix your mindset. But willpower is a finite resource generated by glucose metabolism in a small region of cortical tissue that already runs on about 20 watts of power. You are asking a system designed for episodic effort, bursts of focused energy when survival demanded it, to maintain constant vigilance against an environment that never sleeps. That's not a personal failure. That's a design limitation. Let me give you an example that makes this concrete. Your stress response system, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, evolved to handle acute threats. A leopard appears. Cortisol spikes. Your heart rate increases. Blood flow redirects to major muscle groups. You fight or you run. Then the threat passes and the system resets. That worked beautifully for 50,000 years. But now, the threat never passes. Your inbox is always full. Your rent is always due. Social media constantly reminds you that someone is doing better than you. Your biological machinery is flooding your system with stress toxicity meant for short-term emergencies, except the emergency is now chronic. The hardware cannot distinguish between a predator and a performance review. Both trigger the same cascade. Now, this sounds depressing, but it actually isn't. Because once you understand the mismatch, you stop blaming yourself for responses that are entirely predictable. You are not failing at life. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do in the wrong theater of operation. That shift in perspective is not just semantic. It changes what solutions actually make sense. Let me pause for a second and ask you something people rarely ask honestly. What is the hardest part of living with this? Not the version you explain to others, but the part you deal with alone. If you feel comfortable, leave a comment. Not for advice, just to name it. You'd be surprised how many people are carrying the same thing quietly. Here's what actually works. You stop trying to override your biology and start designing around it. This is not about motivation. This is about friction engineering. Your brain conserves energy by default. That's not laziness. That's efficiency. In an ancestral environment, wasting energy on unnecessary tasks could mean starvation. So your nervous system learned to take the path of least resistance. If you want different behavior, you need to change what the path of least resistance looks like. Take information overload. Your brain has no natural stopping point for novel information. Curiosity was adaptive when there was a finite amount of information available in your immediate environment. But now, every click leads to another click. Every video suggests 10 more videos. Your attention is being harvested by algorithms trained on millions of hours of behavioral data. You are not weak for scrolling. You are up against systems designed by people with PhDs in behavioral psychology whose entire job is to make stopping feel impossible. What actually works is not trying harder to resist. It's removing the option at the hardware level. Delete the apps. Use website blockers. Make the friction so high that your default behavior shifts. You are not fighting your willpower. You are changing the environmental equation. Or take social comparison. Your brain evolved to track status in small groups where you knew everyone personally. That system made sense when social feedback was limited and direct. But Instagram is not a small group. You are comparing yourself to curated highlight reels from thousands of people, most of whom you will never meet, in contexts you will never fully understand. Your biological machinery interprets this as being at the bottom of an impossibly large hierarchy. The result is chronic activation of stress systems and suppression of reward circuits. You feel inadequate not because you are inadequate, but because you are processing social information your brain was never designed to handle at scale. What actually works is not positive thinking. It's reducing exposure. Unfollow accounts that trigger comparison. Limit time on platforms that monetize envy. This is not avoidance. This is recognizing that your hardware has limits. Here's the uncomfortable part. You cannot think your way out of this. Insight alone does not rewire circuits. But insight gives you leverage to change the variables that do rewire circuits. Sleep, light exposure, social connection, physical movement, nutritional stability. These are not optional lifestyle upgrades. They are the inputs your biological machinery requires to function. When people say they feel lost, what they often mean is that their nervous system is in a state of chronic dysregulation. You are not discovering your purpose. You are trying to operate complex cognitive processes on a system running in emergency mode. If this were about willpower, this video wouldn't exist. But it's not about willpower. It's about understanding that you are a biological organism shaped by evolutionary pressures that no longer match your lived reality. The good news is that your brain has hardware adaptation, the capacity to rewire based on experience. Neuroplasticity is not magic. It's activity-dependent modification of synaptic strength. Every time you choose a different action, you are training new pathways. But the training has to be consistent, and it has to account for the fact that your older brain systems, the limbic circuitry driving emotion and habit, will always be faster and louder than your prefrontal cortex. This is why people quit. They expect linear progress. They expect that understanding something intellectually will immediately change how they feel. But your emotional brain does not speak the language of logic. It speaks the language of repetition, safety, and predictability. Changing behavior means changing what feels safe, and that takes time. Not because you are doing it wrong, but because that is how biology works. If this made sense to you, it's not because you're broken. It's because your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do in the wrong environment. Understanding that doesn't fix everything, but it gives you leverage. And leverage is where real change starts. If this way of thinking helps you see yourself more clearly, you know what to do.